It was evening in Jerusalem. The city was crowded, buzzing with travelers, noise, and the scent of roasted lamb and bitter herbs. Passover was here, but what no one knew was that this night would mark the beginning of the greatest act of love the world had ever known. This was Good Thursday, or as we now call it, Holy Thursday, a night of mystery, of betrayal, of service and sacrifice. Jesus had instructed his disciples, "Go into the city. You will meet a man carrying a jar of water. Follow him." Unusual words. A man carrying water? That was typically a woman's task, but the disciples obeyed. They followed the man to a house with an upper room already furnished, just as Jesus had said. Coincidence? Or something more? They took their places around a low table. Their hearts were full of questions. Would Jesus finally take his throne as king? Would the Romans be overthrown? But Jesus had a different kind of crown in mind. Without a word, Jesus stood, took a basin, and knelt. The disciples watched in stunned silence. This wasn't right. The Messiah, the one who healed the blind, calmed the sea, cast out demons, was about to wash their feet. In those days, foot washing was for the lowest servant, not a rabbi, not a master, certainly not the Son of God. But Jesus began to wash. One pair of feet, then another, dusty, cracked, stained, and yet he washed them gently, deliberately. "Lord, are you to wash my feet?" Jesus looked up calmly. "You don't understand now what I'm doing, but later you will." Peter resisted. "Never shall you wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." Peter's heart broke in that moment. "Then not just my feet, Lord, but my hands and my head as well." This was no mere ritual. It was a picture of what was to come. Because Jesus wasn't just washing off the dust of the road. He was washing away something much deeper, the filth of sin. Jesus reclined at the table, and then he grew silent, somber. He looked around at the 12 familiar faces, and then he said something that shattered the room. "Truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me." "Is it I, Lord?" "Surely not me." The silence that followed was louder than any scream. Then Jesus dipped a piece of bread into the bowl and handed it to Judas Iscariot. And with eyes full of sorrow, he said, "What you are about to do, do quickly." Judas took the bread, stood, and walked out into the night. And it was night, not just outside the door, but inside their hearts. Then, in that dim room, Jesus took the bread, lifted it, and said, "This is my body, given to you. Take it and eat it in remembrance of me." He broke the bread and passed it around. And then he took the cup, a deep red wine, and he said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, poured out for many for forgiveness of sins." A new covenant, not carved in stone like Moses' tablets, but written in blood, sealed with love, signed with sacrifice. Some whispered, "What does he mean, his body, his blood?" Others asked, "Where is this going?" But Jesus knew. He had fed the hungry, healed the broken, raised the dead. But now he would become the Lamb, the true Passover sacrifice. And so, after singing a hymn, Jesus stood and, with a heavy heart, he led his disciples out of the room, toward the Mount of Olives, toward a quiet garden, toward the moment where sweat would become blood and friends would become strangers, because the hour had come. And as they disappeared into the shadows of Gethsemane, the world unknowingly held its breath. As history is about to change, Jesus had just broken bread, shared a cup, and prophesied betrayal. But now, the Savior of the world was stepping into the loneliest night of his life. The upper room was behind him, and before him, a garden soaked with sorrow, a place known as Gethsemane. He paused, looked at his disciples with pain in his eyes. "Sit here while I go over there to pray." But he didn't go alone. He took Peter, James, and John, the same three who had seen him transfigured in glory. Now, they would see him broken in grief. He turned to the three and said words they had never heard from him before. "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow, to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Then he took a few steps forward, alone, and then he began to pray. Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done. The cup he spoke of was not made of clay or gold. It was a cup of God's wrath, the weight of the sin of the world. Every lie, every murder, every betrayal, every ounce of human evil would be poured onto him. He who knew no sin would become sin, and the perfect Son of God would be separated from the Father's face. Can you imagine what that felt like? He gently shook them. Could you not keep watch with me for 1 hour? Watch and pray, so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And with a sigh, he turned away again, back to the dirt, back to the prayer, back to the crushing weight. Once more, Jesus fell to the ground. Father, if this cup cannot be taken away unless I drink it, your will be done. His body shook. His soul trembled. His sweat became like drops of blood, a rare medical condition, hematidrosis, when extreme stress causes capillaries to burst near sweat glands. Jesus wasn't just emotionally distressed. He was in physical agony, alone, unseen, unheard, except one being did hear, an angel who came to strengthen him, to remind him that this pain had purpose. Are you still sleeping and resting? The hour has come. He looked beyond them, down the slope of the Mount of Olives. And then they saw it too, a flicker of torches, the clatter of armor, a mob approaching. And at the front of that mob, a familiar face, Judas Iscariot, the friend who had walked with Jesus, eaten with him, served with him. Now, he led soldiers straight to him. Who is it you seek? He asked the crowd. Jesus of Nazareth, they replied. Jesus answered, I am he. And with those 3 words, they fell backward to the ground. A moment of divine power, a reminder they were not in control. He was. Judas approaches, eyes shifty, brow sweaty. He leans in and kisses Jesus on the cheek. Jesus looks into his soul. Judas, do you betray the Son of Man with a kiss? The act was done. The wheels of history are now turning. Suddenly, Peter draws his sword, swings, cuts off the ear of the high priest servant. Jesus stops him. Put your sword back. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me? And then he did something shocking. He touched the man's ear and healed him. Even as he was being arrested, he healed the wounded ear. The disciples stare in disbelief. Their master, arrested like a criminal, and one by one, they fled. Jesus was alone again, bound, beaten, and led into the night. The Lamb had been led from the garden, not by force, but by love. And now he was on his way to stand trial before men he created, to be judged by hearts he came to save. But the night was far from over. Jesus healed the sick, raised the dead, taught with unmatched authority. And now he stood accused, not because he had done wrong, but because the world could not bear his truth. Jesus was on trial. They gathered the Sanhedrin, religious leaders, elders, experts of the law, but they were not looking for justice. They were searching for a reason to kill. Witnesses were brought in one after another. Their testimonies clashed. Nothing lined up. A man accused Jesus, saying, he said he would destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Gasps filled the room. But even this twisted accusation wasn't enough. Jesus remained silent. No protest, no defense, just silence. Caiaphas stood, anger rising. He points at Jesus. Are you not going to answer? Tell us plainly. Are you the Messiah, the Son of God? Jesus slowly raises his head, eyes calm, voice clear. I am, and you will see the Son of Man, seated at the right hand of power, and coming on the clouds of heaven. Caiaphas rips his robe in fury. Blasphemy! We don't need more witnesses. You have heard it yourselves. What do you say? And one by one, they spoke the words they would be judged for. He is worthy of death. Jesus stands surrounded by men, hands tied, But now, the mocking begins. They cover his face with a cloth and slap him. Prophesy, Messiah. Who hit you? They spit on him, strike him, insult him. The very mouths he created now curse him. And he stood silent outside the high priest's courtyard. A small fire burns. Peter stands nearby, trying to stay warm, eyes darting. Trying not to be noticed, a servant girl approaches. You were with that Jesus of Galilee. Peter shakes his head. I don't know what you're talking about. Moments later, another voice. You are one of his followers. I am not. And a third time, surely you are one of them. Your accent gives you away. And Peter, afraid, confused, desperate, swears an oath. I do not know the man. At that moment, the rooster crows. Peter freezes. Jesus' words echo in his heart. Before the rooster crows, you'll deny me 3 times. Peter looks up. Jesus is being led to the courtyard. Their eyes meet. No words, just a look. Peter's heart shatters. He runs into the night, weeping bitterly. Early morning, the Jewish leaders bind Jesus and bring him before Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. They need Rome's permission to execute him. But Pilate is no fool. He sees through their hatred. What charges are you bringing against this man? He claims to be king, a threat to Caesar. Pilate turns to Jesus. Are you the king of the Jews? Jesus answers, my kingdom is not of this world. Pilate frowns. He finds no crime, no reason to punish him. But the crowd grows louder. He stirs up trouble. He started in Galilee. Pilate seizes this. Galilee? That's Herod's jurisdiction. And just like that, Pilate sends Jesus away to Herod Antipas at the Herod's court. The same Herod who once beheaded John the Baptist. Herod is eager to meet Jesus. He hopes for miracles, but Jesus doesn't perform, doesn't even speak. Herod grows bored. He mocks Jesus, dresses him in a royal robe, sends him back to Pilate, a joke in purple cloth. Pilate addresses a crowd in front of his palace. The crowd is loud, demanding. Pilate offers a way out. Every year, I release a prisoner for Passover. Shall I release Jesus, your king? But the crowd had already been stirred up by the priests. No, give us Barabbas, a known rebel and murderer. Pilate is shocked. What then shall I do with Jesus? And the crowd, the same one that once cried, Hosanna, now screams, crucify him, crucify him. Pilate washes his hands. I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourselves. And the crowd responds with these words, his blood be on us and on our children. Jesus, bruised, bleeding, crowned with thorns, standing silently. The verdict was in. Though innocent, he was sentenced to die. And as the Roman guards led him away, the wood for his cross being prepared, the Lamb of God was one step closer to the altar. And so, under the cover of darkness, Jesus is led away in chains. His friends have fled. The weight of the world's sin is now resting squarely on his shoulders. The long-awaited sacrifice has begun, one foretold for generations, now set in motion by betrayal, fear, and divine love. Holy Thursday ends not with a celebration, but with sorrow, not with finality, but with foreshadowing. Yet, even in the silence of the night, hope remains, because what seems like the end is only the beginning. Join us in the next episode as we follow the road to Calvary, where the ultimate sacrifice unfolds. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful biblical storytelling. Let us know in the comments what stood out to you the most about Holy Thursday. Until then, may the peace of Christ be with you.